Hello, welcome to my official March video. So I actually don't have a project for this video. I am here to introduce you to someone. The cat distribution system has blessed us with another cat. We call him Brindlefriend because he's stripy. Basically, come here, come up, say hi to everyone. Come on. So basically there's a lot of like stray cats that live in my apartment complex, and the vibes we get from this cat is that he had probably like had a family before. It seemed like somebody else had maybe been looking after him and then stopped. So we started putting food out for him, not like free feed, but just like I would leave for work, I would put down a handful of food, and then he'd hiss at me from under the bushes. And then when hi, yes, you. And then when I went to get in my car, he'd run over and he'd start eating the food. So we'd put out like food and water for him. And after a year and a half, hi, sweetie boy, you know, it had gotten to the point where he wouldn't hiss at me anymore while I was putting down his food, but he wouldn't like come up to me either. And then one time I was inside, he'd already been fed his morning meal and then his afternoon meal, and then he was like meowing outside of the front door, and I was like, man, like, is he okay? He didn't seem injured, he's got fresh water. Yeah, I was worried about you, little one. Asked my partner, hey, like, did he seem okay? No, he seemed fine. And then I was like, okay, so like, what is it? Like, nothing seems to be wrong. And then she stuck her head out and looked back, and then she was like, I think he wants attention. And I was like, oh, that's a first. All right. So I just like, I walked outside and I like crouched down and I put my hands out and I just waited. And he like walks out from the bushes. He kind of like looks at me nervously. I don't move. He comes closer. I don't move. And then like 3 minutes after that, he like, yes, you. And then 3 minutes after that, he kind of like just snuck his head under my outstretched hand and let me pet him for the first time, which like, that was like a magical moment. I felt like, you know, Disney princess vibes. I was like, I've tamed this wild animal, which of course, obviously is not a wild animal. But like stray cats kind of are. So, and then he lived in our front garden for a couple of years. We have obviously Angus, and Angus is older. He doesn't really seem like it, but he's like 14 and a half. And so we didn't want to like stress him out. So we didn't end up bringing the other cat indoors because like we didn't want him to fight. Angus is very aggressive towards other cats. He will try to fight them through the window. We didn't want these two boyos to have that kind of situation going on. So we weren't really able to bring Brindle inside, but you know, we would take him to the vet. He's got all his shots. We put out fresh food and water for him. We made a shelter for him in the winter that was like nice and toasty warm, with like a heating pad and like a flat, what word am I looking for? And a flat electrical cord that would just like go under the front door so we could plug it in. So that was really nice. But like, obviously we wanted to be able to bring him in. We couldn't risk having the cats fight, and we have a very open concept house, so we couldn't realistically create two different cat areas. And then in late December, that week between Christmas and New Year's, we hadn't seen that much of him. And then basically my partner like ran in the door one day being like, Brindle is hurt. And I was like, okay, let's look up the nearest emergency vet. So, you know, we took him to the emergency vet. She was worried that he had like a broken arm, front leg, sorry. And it turns out that it was just really swollen because Brindle had gotten bitten very badly by, we're not sure what, but it was definitely something larger than another cat. Technically it could have been a fox, but like, this is a large cat. I mean, when we brought him to the emergency vet, they weighed him and he was 22 pounds, and he's not fat, he's just large. He's a built cat. So I have actually seen him like charge at a fox, you know, when he was an outdoor cat, and the fox would run away. So because we didn't know what bit him, you know, maybe even like a neighbor's dog got out, we're just not sure. They were obviously wanting to handle that very carefully. Brindle already has all his shots. He's up to date on his vaccine. So obviously he had a rabies vaccine, but in the event that a cat gets bitten, they give a rabies booster. So the emergency vet gave him a rabies booster, and then we had a quarantine order for him. So he was supposed to be quarantined for 45 days. And we're like, okay, so, you know, we didn't think that we could make having him inside worked, but now we have to find a way to make having him inside work. And so we had asked a really good friend who loves cats if she could take him, and then it turns out that her roommate's partner was super allergic, so she couldn't have him. All right, we're gonna have to make it work. So Brindle lives in my bedroom now, but he is really loving indoor life. I was, oof, come here, baby boy. Say hi to the nice YouTubers. He says, no, I won't. I was a little worried that he'd be upset with being inside. I thought that he maybe wouldn't like it, that he'd be like trying to get outside, but he has not tried to leave my bedroom once. And he's been living in this bedroom for, at this point, 3 months. And he is 3 months, it's like almost 3 months, maybe it's closer to 2.5. So he's really loving it, and he has like there's a huge like 6x6 window, and we've set up a little bed for him right in front of it, so he can like window watch. If the weather's nice, I'll crack the window so he can hear the outdoors. He'll keep an eye on like all the birds, because our place backs right to the woods, which is awesome for him. So he gets to see like the squirrels and the deer and the birds all around. And he's honestly really loving life, which is great. Obviously he's healed up at this point, so you might be seeing him in some videos moving forward. Obviously those will only be like small projects that I can do while he also is trying to get attention, because this cat is extremely affectionate, possibly even more than Angus, and he's very pushy for affection. He will climb on me at 3 a.m. and step on me until I wake up and pet him, and then if I fall asleep while petting him because it's the middle of the night, he'll step on my face until I wake back up and pet him. So anyways, that's my cat. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions about Brindle, leave a comment below and I will answer them, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Bye!